someone not so good looking asks you if they're pretty, what would you say? Would you lie and say yes not to upset them? Would you be straightforward and tell them that you have seen better? Or would you prefer to stay ambiguous and get off the topic? Answers to simple questions like that sometimes can determine your fate. Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Japanese horror playlist. Today's story is another story from my Japanese horror collection. This is probably one of the most popular urban legends out there. It dates back to the 17th century, first appearing during Edo period. In 1970s, it again experienced a rise in its spread around Japan, when in some places people were afraid to let their kids go to school alone. The legend is still very much alive today and is still gaining in popularity. Let's get into the story. It is called Kuchisake Onna, which means Slit Mouth Woman. Once upon a time, in the heart of Tokyo, there lived a young woman named Saki. Saki was a quiet, introverted soul, known for her kindness and compassion. She worked as a librarian and spent her days surrounded by books, which were her closest companions. Although she was content with her solitary life, Saki often felt a deep sense of loneliness that tugged at her heart. She often wished for that special someone who would walk her home after work and share a dinner with her. One chilly autumn evening, as Saki was making her way home from the library, alone as usual, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following her. She quickened her pace, the sound of her footsteps echoing in the deserted alleyways. Her heart raced, and the sense of unease washed over her like a cold wave. As she turned the corner, she saw a shadowy figure standing in a dimly lit alley. The figure wore a long, tattered overcoat, and her face was hidden behind a face mask, hiding away her features. Saki's pulse quickened and her body tensed. "Excuse me," the mysterious woman said in a soft, trembling voice. "Can I ask you a question?" Saki's fear began to give way to curiosity, and she nodded cautiously. "Do you think I'm pretty?" the woman asked, her voice quivering. Saki's heart skipped a beat. She remembered the stories her grandmother had told her about the slit-mouthed woman, and fear surged through her veins. The urban legend was saying that the poor woman, once very beautiful, was mutilated by her husband with scissors, in punishment for being too vain. The woman was left anguished and soon died. Her vengeful spirit went on to terrorize anyone unlucky enough to meet her. She would ask her potential victim if she was beautiful, but no matter what you say, you lose. She left no chance to her victims to win her little game. If you answer no, she will kill you on the spot. If you answer yes, she will take off her mask and repeat her question. If you say no this time, she will cut you in half. And if you still say yes, she will slit your mouth to make you look just like her. Saki's grandmother advised that if Saki was to ever meet Kuchisake Onna, she should try to answer her questions in the most ambiguous manner or ask a question back to confuse the slit-mouthed woman, which would give her time to run away. Saki had to choose her words carefully, as her life depended on her answer. "I think you look okay," Saki replied, her voice trembling. The woman's eyes narrowed, and she seemed to be taken aback by Saki's ambiguous response. I see," she mumbled, Clearly, Saki's tactic has worked and Kuchisake Onna was confused. Before the sinister woman could react, Saki seized the opportunity to ask her a question in return. "Why do you wear that face mask? Is it to protect yourself from the COVID?" The woman hesitated for a moment and then slowly removed her face mask, revealing a grotesque sight. A mouth slit from ear to ear with the row of sharp teeth glistening in a sinister smile. Saki gasped in horror, but she maintained her composure as best as she could. "Do you still think I'm pretty?" the woman asked, her voice cold and menacing. Saki's heart pounded in her chest as she replied, "Yes, I do." The slit-mouthed woman's face contorted into a sinister smile, and she pulled out a pair of scissors from her overcoat. Saki's blood ran cold as she realized her life was hanging by a thread. The woman approached Saki, scissors glinting ominously in the dim light. However, just as the slit-mouthed woman was about to strike, a sudden commotion erupted nearby. A group of teenagers came running down the alley, laughing and shouting. Their boisterous presence startling the mysterious woman. She hesitated for a moment, giving Saki the opportunity she needed. Saki turned and sprinted away from the scene, her heart racing and her breath coming in frantic gasps. She knew she couldn't stop until she was safe. As Saki finally reached her apartment, she locked the door behind her and collapsed onto the floor, trembling with fear and relief. She had narrowly escaped the clutches of the slit-mouthed woman, thanks to the unexpected arrival of those rowdy teenagers. From that day on, Saki would always be prepared to respond with ambiguity and questions should she ever come face to face with the sinister and terrifying creature again. Thank you for listening, and let me know in the comments, what would you say to Kuchisake Onna? Have a nice nightmare and see you soon.